how do you guys, or what are you doing? How are you getting along with feed intake during training? Now, I don't, genetics are different, I get that. We struggle to get enough feed intake over 3 weeks in training. They're trained, they eat well, I'm not saying that. But they don't seem to, it seems to take them too long to want to start cycling again after we get them out of training back in the crates.
What's your pre-training? Do you use pre-training? Are you doing anything with pre-training?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And then what's your feed rate?
It's 4.5 pounds. 4.5 pounds, and we have 3 different.
Well, what's your speed?
I'm not sure what the first one starts out at. Yeah, the first training one's 70, and then it goes to 90, and then like 110. I think.
You're only allowing them up to 4.5 pounds per gilt on a budget?
Well, what we've started doing is when they eat their full balance, then we turn them up to 7. Let them eat 7 pounds. And it has got better, but I'm just saying, like the group has averaged at the end of training, it's averaged like they'll average like 4.2 or 4.3 pounds for the whole 3 weeks a day.
You know, in training gilts, we've found that you don't want it to be totally routine. You want to look and see what those gilts are doing. But we start out with 2 kilos, and we're going slow at the 75, and then we bump it up a little bit, and then we go to 3 kilos, and we do that at about 5 to 7 days, depending on how that group's eating. But we're not going to vary from that, because when we wait longer, if that group's not eating well, we found that bump, once we bump them, they really take off. And it's like they were ready, but they're not, almost like they're impatient because the feed's not coming fast enough as they're learning the system. So the next one, we go to the 3 kilos, and then we go to 4 kilos. After, and we're looking at 5 to 7 days on each one of those. And that's been working very well for us. But the interesting thing, the thing I want to point out to you is sometimes those groups seem like they're not eating as well, and so we were hesitating, and we decided that was a mistake. Go ahead and, if we're at that 7 days and they're not eating enough, go ahead and bump them. And it's amazing how many more of those pigs come on to feed and they're eating, because I think they were just impatient and not getting that feed fast enough, because we increase each time we do it. So, and we don't worry so much about the leftover feed as long as we're getting those animals in that are needing to where everybody is understanding the system, getting in there comfortably relaxed. And because the one thing, you're going to have some of those that are heat cycles too, and those girls are hard to pick out. So you just, as long as you're getting them in there calm, and that's what we're trying to focus on.
Yeah, our biggest thing was getting them in there calm. Like if you can get them in there quietly and they go in and they get their head, they learn that, okay, I've got to look right, use the tag, then then everything clicks. Away they go. But it takes, we slowed them right down as well and kind of stair-step them into it, I guess.
And I would give kudos to one of our guys that really came on. Juan Ornelas was working with us, and then when we first started, Tim came in. He said we're going to be there to train. We had 6 people on that first group of 240, and we worked as long of a day putting those gilts in, and we were all good workers. Smart workers, no, but good workers. But and I looked at that and I saw how calm Juan was, and I said, Juan is actually a guy that sometimes would show up to work whenever he wanted to. A little bit late. Time was not an important issue to him, but we put him in there, and that one person did what the 6 of us did, and in the end, that group was trained quicker. So having the right person in there that is good and calm, because the thing you'll see is if she is calm when she goes in there, her chance of eating is great. If she's nervous, she's going to be looking around seeing what's going on. And so we look for that type of personality to do that job, and that's been a key for us.
Ditto. Ours is David. It's really hard to get into rabbit gear, but we don't need that in training.
No, he fits.
He fits.
Ours is Travis.
He
He's a high school kid that you couldn't kick him in the butt hard enough to get him up going in the morning. He used to fall asleep at lunchtime, just be out cold, just like, yeah, have a half-hour lunch, 15 minutes, and he's snoring loud from the bench. So we put him in that job.
They do awesome.
Oh, it just seems to fit them. It really does. Can't have somebody in a rush. I cannot train gilts. Nope, not my job.
You know, and we sometimes forget about the curiosity of the animal, but as we were first building in Georgetown, I thought it was so interesting. We had 52 gilts left over in one pen, and the construction just turned over a pen to us. And so I said, let's move those girls down here and then keep our gilts in order, and then we'll move them back. Well, we closed the gates to where they could not get to the feed system, and it was a brand new, there was no boar smell in the boar station. But we put those 52 animals in there for 30 minutes, and then we moved them back. And just by sticking their nose in that hole where the boar station was, even though there was no boar smell or anything, it detected them, and it detected every single animal within 30 minutes. So how curious are these animals? They're, yeah, it read that to responder that quick, and that just shows, you know, if you can let those girls be calm, their curiosity will get them in there.
The one thing that I find really exciting is that Broken Bow is moving to the metric system, because you're quoting kilos and this guy's quoting pounds. And so Francis, there's a big difference between a kilo and a pound. So
that was hard for us. Tim kept telling us it's kilos, it's kilos.
Okay, does that help?
Yeah.
We're on our gilt training, correct me if I'm wrong today, but I think we start at 4 kilos and 90 grams a minute, and we don't change it much. And what happens is your girls that don't eat much, you know, they might have some slop left over, so your more aggressive eaters are kind of cleaning up the trough. We haven't found that, I mean, and it may be genetic based or whatever, but we haven't found that to be a stressful issue, and we track our intakes, and I guess we've made major improvements. We had a feeder behind the separation for a while to drive intakes up. That was a bad idea. It was a life jacket for them, and they learned that they could get out and eat some more because we were struggling as well. And what fixed that problem for us was pre-training properly. That has fixed our gilt weight loss issue in training, was pre-training.
Can you maybe expand on what you're actually doing through the pre-training?
So our pre-trained pen has the roller gate that they have to pull open, and then the one-way gates back. We have the ability now, and I don't know if we would have had the space to do it on stocking, but I'd encourage anybody who builds new to think about that. But we single pass our pre-train, so we're pushing everybody over. And so the first few days, we'll have that roller gate. Well, we won't even single pass. So the first 2 weeks in there, we just open them gates up. We tie them open with the chain, and then I'll release a couple links slowly, and then we'll actually start to push them all to one side, force them to, you know, we have water on one side, feed on the other, so force them all to one side. They go through, get that going every few days, and within, you know, they're in those pre-trained. The minimum they can be in there is 3 to 4 weeks, just because of our heat. And when we bring them, we're bringing them in about 150 days of age, start the heat cycle there. And once they have a heat, then go to training. And so, yeah, basically single passing, force through on pre-train, start letting their curiosity work. So starting with them open, slowly release them down as we do new groups. So by the time they even enter training, they totally know what a roller gate is, how to pull it open, how to go in. And so the first day, our gilts go into the station, no problem, don't eat. I mean, you have to encourage them, but go into the station, no problem. Some of them will eat, some of them won't, probably 50-50. And we don't push it. We'll lock them in there for a little bit. If they don't eat, we let them go by the next day. 90% of them are eating by day 3. They're waiting for you.